Hello, my name is Jacob Todson. Last year I sold nearly everything I owned to travel the ancient world to learn more about the beliefs of the past. Today, my journey has brought me back to the United States to explore possibly the most significant spiritual site in all of ancient North America, Cahokia. Located only a few miles from St. Louis, Cahokia is a park spread over 2,200 acres and contains over 80 man-made mounds. Cahokia was at its peak in around 1100 CE when around 15,000 people lived, worshipped, and celebrated here. Okay, so I am actually here right now at the Cahokia Mound. So I was kind of driving through the area already on this kind of road trip, and I wanted to stop by and kind of give my reaction to them. I've actually not done a lot of the research at this point, so this is really just me experiencing these in person. And I think my biggest thing coming to this is, how come I never learned about this in school? I mean, obviously the answer is, most education in America is mostly focused on, when Europeans came here. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. But one of the things I want to do in this channel, outside of talk about modern paganism, is talk about these lesser known spiritual places. And this is lesser known, but it shouldn't be. There's no reason that every person in America should know about the Cahokia Mounds, because look at this thing in the distance here. Look at the size of this thing. I mean, as we get closer and as I'm putting footage over here, this is massive. And I think one of the biggest things when I drove up, I'm here with my friend, and I looked at him and I said, this is so much bigger than Uppsala in Sweden. I've been to Uppsala now, and it is like half the size of this. So why is it not talked about more? Hopefully I can dig up more in my research to share with you, but mostly I just want to share this amazing site with you. Because I think we're often led to believe that there's not a lot of ancient sites in America. I just think we're not told about them. And so this is in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, a place most people probably avoid because Illinois is flat and boring. But this is definitely worth checking out. And again, it is so much bigger than something like Uppsala in Sweden that is so prized as a spiritual place. So this definitely, really cool to look at. But let's go over here and I'll kind of show you more of the size here. The largest mound is called the Monk Mound. It is sometimes classified as a pyramid and is the largest earthen structure in ancient North America. Evidence of a structure have also been found at the top of Cahokia, and it is assumed this was the home of the chieftain and the center of religious celebration. So as I walk towards this, I mostly just want you to see the size of these mounds. And this is not supposed to be one of my favorite quotes from Einar Selvik from Wardruna. History shouldn't be my culture is better than your culture. One of the things when I say this is so much bigger than Uppsala, it's not saying this culture was better than the people of Uppsala. That's not why I'm saying that. The reason I say things like that is to give you a way to look at the world differently, the historical world differently. We're sitting here looking at Uppsala in Sweden saying how important it is, and yet we never learn about this. More people probably know on this channel, obviously, about Uppsala and not about Cahokia. And yet, more than half this channel is from America. So, I know Uppsala might not be accessible to you, but Cahokia probably is. And so I really believe that you should be coming to the Cahokia Mounds if you're in the United States to pay reverence to it, to respect it. Obviously, I don't have any connection to the indigenous people from here, but I can still come here in reverence and respect of the history and spirituality that once existed here as well. So hopefully I'm going to overlay footage here of Uppsala and this, because I really want you to get a size comparison, how epic this thing is, just how massive. So it's a lot of stairs, and there's two rows of this. I think the sign said it was 100 feet tall, and yeah, it definitely feels it being right in front of it. This is the same feeling I had in Europe, crawling around the stone circles and the ancient burial mounds. It can exist here in the United States, and so I really want to encourage my viewers in the United States or my viewers in Europe, take a trip here. Truly, take a trip to all the ancient sites in America, and I think you're going to find some amazing feelings. So, yeah, back up we go. This is actually the first place as well that you can see the other mounds over here as well. So this is a large complex. I'm sure I've talked about it in the video so far, but over here, there are other burial mounds all around, and then there is actually a Sunhenge that has been recreated that they believe was here as well. We'll see that towards the end of the video. Obviously, you can see the sun so beautifully up here. I'm so happy to be up here right now during this time of day. Just so you can kind of get an idea, that's the museum center in the distance over there. And then there's mounds in front of there, another large ziggurat over there thing, and then of course the main monk mound that we're on here as well. And then far down the road is actually the Sunhenge. So this is a large complex of interconnected structures that served a very large community of people, mostly spiritual in nature, it seems. So yeah, I can't tell you how many times I can say it, but just really cool to see and experience. Truly, as I stand up here looking out into the St. Louis skyline from the top of a nearly, 1,000-year-old ancient site, you know, it doesn't matter to me what bloodline you are, belief you have. To stand upon something so old and so ancient and so important, to know and not know what used to happen here, no matter where in the world I do that at, it feels so powerful. And that's why I genuinely believe, we all have our different paths. I have different beliefs than the people that once stood here, just as I have different beliefs as the people that once celebrated at Sunhenge or the other ancient sites I've been to around the world. We really often don't know the beliefs of the ancients, but we're all trying to reconstruct them in our own way. And so to stand up top this mound here, in a place that the people here could have never fathomed the world we live in now. And so I just feel forever grateful that we can still experience sites like this. And I think it's always important to talk about them like I am now so that they can continue to be preserved into the future. So you might not agree with this part of my personal practice because, obviously I don't know the beliefs of the people that once lived here. But something I always do is I always bring an offering of some kind to show respect. I mean, I'm not going to leave the plastic of these, obviously. But I'm just going to leave flowers up here as respect and memory of what used to be done, because I doubt many people come here reflecting on the ancient spirituality that was practiced here. Like right here where I'm standing was where the chief's house was, where predominantly there was probably rituals as well. Like there was a big post here apparently, like right here. So I'm going to leave some flowers over here, just in reflection of what used to be done here. Again, some people might not agree with that, but it's a small way I have of leaving something to show respect and love for the ancient world, even when these are not my people, even when I don't know their beliefs. I like to think that these small moments, connect me deeper to this place and to the people of that ancient past. So I'm going to go do that really quick, and we'll continue this tour and share any more information I'm able to find after the fact. I was just thinking on the way down from the mound that the last time I felt this way, I'm very emotionally impacted by this. And the last time I kind of felt this way, this very particular way, was at the Fort Donat in Scotland, which was the ancient hill fort that the kings used to be crowned on and ordained. I don't know if it's the right term, but they used to be crowned and look over the kingdom. And yeah, I feel very similar to when I was there. And so again, different cultures, different times. Well, kind of, actually, it was a very similar time. But just similar feelings. And that's really, really one of the things I want to hammer home with the show. I'm not a scholar. I'm not, a historian. Like I do my research the best I can. But I really wanted to take you to these sites and share with you what my feelings were. And the feeling is gratitude, happiness and sadness, and just feeling the power of what used to happen here. And I felt very similar things in Scotland as well. So just really powerful. The history of Cahokia is largely a mystery. The city was abandoned before the first French explorers reached the region. Even the name Cahokia is not from the tribes that originally lived here. Several artifacts do remain from the mounds that give us a glimpse into the culture of these ancient mound builders. And scholars have been asking the question of what happened to Cahokia and its people, and we largely still don't know the answer. However, the most accepted theory seems to be that the Cahokia, over its multi-hundred-year history, was abandoned after the society got too big to maintain its food, water, shelter, and sanitation. Like much of the ancient world, Cahokia is only one example of ancient civilizations that have rose and fell over our long human history. I simply feel grateful that anything remains of this once great people. One interesting thing about the Sunhenge here is that this is actually the fifth rendition that has been discovered. On the map of the sign here, they actually show several examples of previous Sunhenges that used to exist here, always existing in different locations with a different amount of posts. The one that we're seeing here is the reconstruction of the largest and one of the latest Sunhenges that existed here. So this begs a lot of questions of why did they have so many renditions? Were they constantly thinking about how this looked, how it aligned to the sun, or was it just decaying and they simply had to build another one? Again, all really interesting questions, but it's really cool not to just see one example of a Sunhenge that used to exist here. It was so important that they built several over probably its several hundred-year history. I think my raw thoughts here, again, not doing any research by the point of standing here besides knowing that it exists, is big. Big. I've seen a site similar to this again in Ohio. This was a reconstructed modern site, which is the Sunhenge there, but it's a quarter of the size here. And so, again, this is, from what I understand, a find. I don't know if it was exactly here. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But the size of this definitely shows the amount of people that were here. And again, when I was doing my research on the solstice, seeing that a site like this is actually how I found out about Cahokia. I was doing research on the solstice. And now sitting here looking at the setting sun between these, this wood henge is a pretty amazing experience. And I think that's just, again, the thing to take away from sites like this is at one point here, you know, the monk mound over there, as they call it, people were here celebrating the sun, studying the sun. And that's a very powerful thought to live and to realize. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway here. That sun worship is a thing in the ancient past in many cultures. And it appears from the sign over here that I saw that people still come here to worship the sun. And that gives me hope. It really does. No matter where I go in the world, I'm always finding rubbish at ancient sites. Stop it. Whoever does this, stop it.